So let me tell you a story. Sometimes closing day is really opening day. And this particular closing reminded me of that in a very personal way. Hi, I'm JoAnn Donahue with JoAnn at the Shore. Please feel free to grab my free seller's guide. The link is below. Get back to my story. The seller and I have known each other since third grade. So this was not simply a real estate transaction for me. This was helping a longtime friend move through a very major life change. Her home, it held 26 years of memories, raising her kids, welcoming her grandkids, the holidays that she loved so much celebrated there, and then everyday dinners. All the ordinary things that become extraordinary when you look back on them. After losing her husband, she decided it was time to downsize and move into a 55 plus community. She thought she was ready and then changed her mind. Put the brakes on, only to start back up a year later. She had a plan in mind. She thought she knew exactly which model she wanted and where she wanted it. Then, because real estate has a way of reminding us that plans, they're only plans. She fell in love with a completely different home in a 55 and older community. That part made me smile because so often I do see buyers and sellers start with one picture in their minds. Then life shows them something else. And sometimes, and most of the times, that something else turns out to fit better than the original plan. The move itself, it wasn't easy, not going to lie. There were tears. There were big decisions to make. Then there was packing a home of 26 years worth of stuff. There were memories tucked into every room. And there was that very real feeling of knowing you are leaving something behind, even when you know it's time to go. That is the part of selling a home people do not always talk about. We talk about the price. We talk about repairs. We talk about showings and contracts, inspections, appraisals and closing dates, and all those things, they matter. But sometimes the biggest part of the transaction, it's emotional. Sometimes the seller is just not letting go of a house. They are turning the page, like the great song from Bob Seger, Turn the Page. They're starting a whole new chapter. And my job in that moment is not to rush them through it. It is to help them understand what comes next. And this is where I do my best, and I'm so humbled to be of service. You may think it sounds overly Pollyanna-ish, but I much rather know my service is more about the people. I care enough to keep the process moving, to make sure the right people are involved, to ask the right questions that need to be asked, and sometimes just to be there. The day after closing, she told me she was happy. I can't tell you what that did for me. That mattered more to me than any statistic ever could, because I had seen the tears roll down her cheeks the day before as the new buyers were signing the final papers and the house she spent all those years was no longer hers. Sure, she loved the idea of the new house she settled on, but the uncertainty that she was experiencing was real. Her new neighbors were already welcoming her. First came homemade Jewish apple cake. Then there were little gifts, small gestures, kindness, the kind of thing that says, you're not alone here, worth its weight in gold. And that hit me because neighborly kindness can sometimes feel like a lost art. I don't think I'm alone with that thought. We live in a world where people go years without really knowing who lives next door. And that's sad, but it is also true. Everyone is so damn busy. Everyone is moving way too fast. And sometimes we forget how much a simple gesture can mean. A cake, a knock on the door, a small gift, a welcome to the neighborhood. Those things may seem small, but when someone is starting over in a new place, in a new chapter, they can mean everything. And I think that is the bigger lesson in this story. Sometimes my job is not simply helping someone sell a house. It's helping them get from, I know it's time, to, I think I'm going to be okay here. That is a very different kind of closing. And it is one of the reasons I still love this business after all these years. It's always been about the people for me, because real estate is not just about houses. It's about the people. It's about timing, and it's about change. It's about helping someone move from what was into what is next. And sometimes what is next is better than they ever expected. Sometimes closing day really is opening day. If you're thinking about selling because life has changed and you're not quite sure what that next chapter should look like, you do not have to have every answer before we talk. That is what my discovery call is for. Real estate, it is not rocket science. When it involves your home, your memories, and your next chapter, it's serious business. I am JoAnn Donahue with JoAnn at the Shore. And if you are trying to figure out what comes next, I'm here to help you think it through. Feel free to subscribe to this channel so that you can get more of what I have to offer. Like this video. It really helps me get the word out so that other people just like you can hear who I am and what I do, and I could be someone for them as well. And don't forget, I offer free seller's guides. I offer things below. Help yourself to any of it. And I look forward to seeing you on the next one.